Hello everyone, welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to day 18. Let's complete our speaking practice task 1 and then probably we'll proceed for task 2 today. This is already third day of speaking practice, so let's complete our lectures that we have uh, completed till yesterday. Okay, so let's start.
It's about being able to know the question. Okay, in this lecture, I'm going to give you a demonstration of how the speech-to-text software works. I think the speech-to-text software is a great tool to be able to look at what you're saying and try to find areas where you can actually improve. I'm going to use the speech-to-text software that is embedded within Google Docs. And the way you find it is you go into Google Docs, you go under Tools, and right here you'll find where it says Voice Typing, and you click on that. And then you'll see this little box right here that shows up on the screen that has a microphone. And then you just click on that microphone, and it will be recording what you have to say. Okay? So I'm going to kind of show you how this works. So I'm going to ask the question, then I'm going to click on the microphone and give an answer. Now, if you're doing this on your own, you can, if you're doing this on your own, or even better with a partner, you can have your partner say the question to you, and then you give the answer. So there are a lot of creative things that my students have done. This even works if somebody is located in a different city than you or a different country from you, because you can literally have your cell phone with you, have your headphones plugged into your cell phone, and then you can have somebody in a different location say the questions to you like you're doing an exam, and then you are saying your answers directly into the speech-to-text software where it's going to write down what you're going to say. So there are so many different creative ways that you can use this to help you in getting ready for the speaking section of the test. All right, but I don't have a partner here with me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the question and answer the question. How did your parents choose your name? Well, that's actually a pretty funny story. From what I've been told, my parents were watching the 1969 Olympics, and there was this runner from Kenya named Kipchangge, and they were really, really impressed by his feats during the Olympics. I guess they thought about it, and they said, well, we really like that part Kino, and we're going to go ahead and name our first child Kino if it's a boy. Period. All right, now the one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't add in punctuation. And I guess some names it doesn't get, especially if I'm saying names from Kenya. But it does get down a lot of what you have to say. And let's see this one. Kipchangge. It says Kino keeps on gay. Okay. I guess it doesn't recognize Kino Kipchangge. All right, so let's move on to the next question. All right. Does your name have any special meaning? Actually, my name does not have any type of unique understanding. The main reason why is because my parents just took part of a full name. Now, I've asked my parents time and time again, what does the name Kino mean? And they have been consistent in their answer that they have absolutely no idea what the name Kino means. So what I've done over the years is just come up with my own meaning. And I tell people when they ask me that the name Kino means king, period. Okay. Now let's get to the next question. If you could change your name, would you? In no uncertain terms would I decide on calling myself by anything other than Kino. The reason why is that my name is unique. It feels so good when I go to an airport or a restaurant and the waitress or the airline attendant calls out the name Kino, and I'm the only one that responds. Now, I have to admit that I did think about it once or twice when a family member of mine decided to name their child after me, and so he's also called Kino. But when it comes down to it, I love my name, and I would not want to be called anything else. Period. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Is your name common or unusual in your country? I would have to say that the name Kino is quite rare in the United States. I have been to all parts of the country, and I have never come across another person by accident who was actually named Kino. Now, as I mentioned before, I do have one cousin that was named after me. So as far as I know, there are 2 Kinos inside of the United States. Period. Next question. Do you like music? My life wouldn't be the same without music. So I would say that I absolutely adore music. When I was a child, my father used to play music from bands and individual singers from the 1970s and 1980s. And I just have always had an affinity for music. Whenever I'm feeling down or sad, I can put on a song by Stevie Wonder and it immediately lifts my mood. So I would actually call myself a music lover. Period. All right, so I hope that everyone has had an opportunity to kind of see how the speech-to-text works. I think another benefit of the speech-to-text software is that it really helps you to test your pronunciation. Most of the words that I'm saying, the program is picking up on what I'm saying because of my pronunciation, and Google has a really, really good program for that. So this was just to show you how to use the speech-to-text software, and I hope that you really, really take advantage of it. Take care. Talk to you soon. Okay, so this is an IELTS speaking exam part number 1, higher and number 1. So in terms of the purpose for speaking part number 1, you have to, of course, introduce yourself because that's a basic function of speaking any language. So they're first going to just introduce themselves and have you introduce yourself about where you're from. They'll ask you a few general questions that are related to the city you live in, or if you're a student, or do you have a job? And then they're going to ask you a few unexpected questions. And those unexpected questions are the questions that we're going to focus on today in this live class. Unexpected questions are questions where they're asking you about museums or art or books, reading, walking, exercise, transportation, some type of question that maybe you're not expecting, so they can see how you respond in that type of situation. Now, on the speaking test for part number 1, you have different question types that you're going to encounter. There basically are 15 different types of questions that range from ability to describing something to opinions, places, preferences, suggestions, or specifying some specific response or specific fact or detail. And so on the exam, you want to make sure that you're able to manage and answer all these different question types. Now, I am going to go ahead and give you a copy of this later on, what you see on the screen. I'm going to attach it to a PDF, and that will be uploaded into the course. And I'll probably, when I add it into the course, I will add more of the question forms and some of the question positions in terms of how you respond when they're asking about your ability, or how you respond when they're asking you to describe something. And so I think that could be something that's really helpful. In terms of your scoring in the IELTS examiner, as you may know, if you don't know, they're going to be testing you in 4 different areas: fluency and coherence, lexical resource. Lexical resource deals with your vocabulary. Grammatical range and accuracy deals with, of course, how with your range of English grammar. And then finally, they're grading you on your pronunciation. How well do you do the individual sounds of a word, and how well do you pronounce groups of words together within a sentence? And of course, fluency and coherence deals with your pace in terms of the pace of your speaking, and coherence deals with understanding. How well are you understood? And that comes from the fluency of your speaking, and also the language that you're using, if it's coherent and relevant to the question itself. In terms of some do's and don'ts, you do want to make sure that you expand, extend, explain your answers. That's one of the best ways to do well on speaking part number 1. Number 2, make sure you use subject-specific vocabulary. Do simulate the exam as much as possible. Make sure you use contractions in part number 1 because it is informal, right? It is informal. Part 1 is informal. That's the reason why they allow for you to use phrasal verbs and idioms. Make sure you use a variety of discourse markers. I can't tell you how many times I've been speaking with somebody and they keep saying actually, blah, 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 actually this, actually, and you're not showing range. You want to make sure you use cohesive language to be able to connect your ideas together and get to the point, right? Get to the point, respond, extend, explain. That's how you do well in part number 1. Some things that you do not want to do, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, I'm going to repeat it in terms of not using memorized answers. IELTS examiners are trained to recognize memorized answers. They're trained, right? They're trained to do it. Because you can immediately recognize when a student is using statements that they memorized. And I especially hear this when you all start speaking. Like when somebody will ask you where you're from, and then I hear this rehearsed 3-sentence response that's clearly rehearsed. And as an examiner, whenever you hear memorized answers, you just throw it out the window. You throw it out the window. Because when you're speaking on a memorized answer, that doesn't show your English ability. It just shows you can memorize something and repeat it. Hand gestures. Somebody asked me earlier about hand gestures. They don't take away from your score. Like if you're using your hands when you're speaking, it doesn't take away from your score. But you have to be very careful that you're not using your hands to substitute for words or substitute for language, because that's what they're grading are your language. Don't overtalk. Answer the question, 2 to 3 sentences maximum for each question in part number 1. That's it. Don't be repetitive. When I say don't be repetitive, this is what we're talking about. Don't repeat the question. Do you like reading? Yes, I like reading. Do you go to the museums? Yes, I go to the museum. When you're repeating the question or repeating the same words over and over again, you're not showing range, right? You're not showing range. And showing range is extremely important. So much of scoring well is about your range of pronunciation, your range of grammar, your range of vocabulary, right? Your range of being able to extend the answer. Doing well is about range. When the test starts, don't worry about your grammar, whatever grammar you have, just go with it. And make sure that you don't translate. If you are trying to translate, what I mean by translate is think of how to say something in your language and then translate it to English. When you do that, it causes a disruption in your automaticity. Automaticity is the rate or speed of which the word comes out of your mind, from your mind to out of your mouth. And it causes a lot of hesitation and pausing. So just speak English. This is another chart that I'm going to include in the course eventually, but it talks a little bit more about do and don't. I'm not going to go over all of this right now. Like I said, I'm going to include this on a PDF for you to be able to see, but it goes over each. This one's broken down a little bit differently because it goes over specifically for fluency and coherence, what to do and what not to do. For lexical resource, what to do, what not to do. Grammatical range, do not. Pronunciation, do and do not. So like I said, I'm going to include this in the course, and then you can be able to take your time and go over it at your own rate. I'm going to take a couple of questions right now. There are a couple of questions in here. I want to look at them. Answer does stuttering affect my score? I have a speaking problem. Yeah, I mean, if you have a stuttering problem, then yes, it can affect your score because what ends up happening is you have a lot of hesitation and pausing. So the only way you can really handle that is by being able to tell the examiner in advance that you have some type of speaking problem. And if you have any evidence of like medical evidence or somebody acknowledging that you have a speaking problem, then I would present that up front. Now, I'll say it one more time. Hand gestures don't add anything to your score, right? Hand gestures don't add anything to a score. Mr. Gupta, I don't know what you mean by structures. I just told you that if you're trying to use something memorized, then they're going to recognize it. So that's what you're asking me about. I don't know what you mean by structure. Like I told you, the basic structure, for part number one is you want to speak in 2 or 3 sentences, right? But if you're talking about memorized phrases and stuff like that, they're going to recognize it. No, for an introduction, that's not really important in terms of the grading, right? Introduce yourself in a natural way, explain who you are in a natural way, and then talk about where you're from in a natural way. There's a big difference between speaking naturally and speaking from memory, speaking something memorized. We can immediately tell when you do it, right? We can immediately, well, the reason why you sound rehearsed, I'm answering one more question before I move on, everybody. And this is a question from Svetna, I think. She's asking me, like, how can we not sound like we're rehearsing? The reason why you sound like you're pre-rehearsed, Svetlana, is because you keep practicing the same 2 or 3 sentence response 50 times instead of just practicing responding to the question naturally. If you keep practicing the same rehearsed sentences over and over and over again, you're going to sound memorized. You're going to sound pre-rehearsed. The way you don't do that is by you just practicing answering the question naturally how it comes to you. That's how you avoid doing that. Okay? All right, so I'm going to keep going and moving forward. Yeah, if you have a question, Hina, go ahead and type your question in the box, Hina. I'm not going to turn on any microphones, Hina. Just type your question in the box for me. And Jen, also, Jen, I see your hand, Jen. Just type your question in the box and I'll answer it. Oh, yeah, Hina, turn off your video, please. Hina Shastri, turn off your video, dear, please. All right, everybody, no video, because your video can be a distraction. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going. This is something else I'm going to pass along to you also. It deals with mistakes that are made in the different areas. Especially pay attention to the grammar accuracy in terms of the mistakes. These are a lot of the mistakes that I hear over and over again. Wrong word orders, wrong modals, wrong tenses, countable versus uncountable, comparative, subject-verb agreement. One of the best pieces of advice that I could give somebody for being able to get a really great grammar score for the speaking section is have strong fundamentals. Many times you mess up your grammar score, not by the advanced things that you can't do, but by the basic fundamental parts of grammar that you cannot do or that you consistently do incorrectly. And the way that you're able to correct yourself is you have to be able to record and listen to yourself. That's really important to be able to do that. All right, here's just some more basic speaking advice. Know what the examiner expects for each part of the exam. For example, in part number 2, you have to know that what the examiner is really paying attention to a lot in part number 2 is your fluency and your pronunciation. right? So know what the examiner is expecting to hear from you in each part. The examiner will allow for you to make mistakes and errors. They're not your friend. They're not trying to be your friend. If you make mistakes, they're going to let you make mistakes. Tip number 2, don't be in a hurry. Sometimes, you can ask a student a question, and then as soon as I get the last syllable out of my mouth, they're already responding. Number 1, that means you didn't take the time to fully hear the question. And then number 2, you're starting out too quickly. It's okay to take a 1 or 2 second pause and then speak. Tip number 3, be very, very descriptive in your answers. It's not about just answering a question, but how you answer. That's what you're graded on. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers. There are relevant and irrelevant answers. There's a difference. A lot of times, students get hesitation problems or pausing problems in their responses because they're trying to get a right answer. And there's no such thing as a right to any of these questions. To all of these questions, there is no right answer. There are a multitude of possible answers. So don't worry about being right or wrong. Just be relevant, right? Just be relevant. Tip number 4, always follow the verb tense of the question. If the question is asking about the past, keep your verb tenses in the past. If it's asking about the future, keep your verb tenses in the future. And then finally, I want you to always make sure that you paraphrase the question and use synonyms. Whenever you can paraphrase the question and use synonyms during your speaking, you're going to be able to score very well. All right, so for a part number 1 opening, it's always like this. It's always like this. Good afternoon, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. It's going to start out this way, right? When they're going over this part right here, just answer the questions naturally. Don't give these pre-rehearsed, memorized responses because we can always tell when you do it. And that does not help your scoring when you do that. Yeah, if somebody has, if you have another question, you can ask me any question you want within the Udemy course, okay? But there are no other questions right now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about moving from band 6 to band 7. IELTS exam students often find themselves stuck at a 6.5 in the speaking section. And normally, if somebody is stuck at a 6 or 6.5 and they can't get over a 7, it's related to one of these 4 things. Number 1, precision and range. Precision and range. To be able to score 7, 8, or 9, you have to show a range. And when I talk about range, I'm specifically talking about your vocabulary and your grammar. You show range in vocabulary by using subject-specific vocabulary, synonyms, and paraphrasing. That's how you show range in your vocabulary. You show range in your grammar by being able to speak in compound, complex sentences, conditional sentences, and being able to use cohesive devices. That's how you show that kind of range. Also, in terms of precision, band 7 students always choose the right form of the word. Always choose the right form of the word. Another big difference between a band 6 student and a band 7+ student is the ability to extend, explain, expand. Again, extend, explain, expand does not mean overtalk, right? It does not mean overtalk. It does not mean just keep running your mouth like you have zero control. Speak in 2 to 3 sentences, answer, get ready for the next question. Of course, one difference between a band 6 or what keeps somebody stuck at a band 6.5 is your overall English level, right? English level is a limitation. And so some of the best advice I can give anybody is, keep improving your English. And the way that you keep improving your English in terms of speaking is speak English as much as possible, right? When you're just speaking in general every day, and you have that exam coming up in a month, and you're speaking English in your everyday life as much as possible, over-explain. Explain and talk about things way more than you need to, just to get yourself, increasing your overall English level and your comfort to response. And then finally, the type of hesitation that you have makes a difference in your scoring. And this is something that a lot of students are not aware of. If you have language-related hesitation, then that might be why you're stuck at a band 6 or a 6.5. If you have content-related hesitation, that's okay, right? When you have content-related hesitation, you can still get a band 8 or a band 9. But if you have language-related hesitation, that's what gives you a lower score. So, there are some differences between, the band 5, 6, 6.5 levels and the band 7, 7.5, 8, and 9 levels. And so we have to recognize that. So how to improve? There are three pieces of advice I'm going to give you for improving. Number 1, record yourself and keep a record. A lot of us don't like to listen to ourselves. But if you're practicing for the IELTS exam, you want to listen to yourself. You want to record yourself and keep a record. When I say keep a record, I'm talking about keeping a written record of evaluating your responses. But recording yourself is how you get better. Number two, I've already explained, speak English consistently and in detail. As much as possible, you have to speak, especially when you're coming up to the exam. One reason why you have hesitation on the exam, or hesitation happens on the exam, is because the student has not been speaking English prior to the exam, and then they have trouble getting the words that are already in their head. And then finally, the more you improve your vocabulary, your score is going to be. So when you start studying for an exam like the IELTS exam or the TOEFL exam, you don't stop increasing your vocabulary and your grammar. That's something that you keep practicing. That's something that you keep improving, and your score will get better that way. All right, so now I'm going to get into speaking part one and going over some of the recent part one questions. I already have my 8 volunteer speakers. There are 8 different sets we're going to do. And like I say, we're not going through a full practice test. These are the recent questions. These are some of the recent questions that they've asked. So there may be a question about museums or a question about communication or different types of questions. And if you have, and so as a volunteer, you're going to have 4 questions. So for example, if I'm calling on Julia, I'm not calling you right now, Julia, I'm just using it as an example. If I'm calling on Julia to volunteer, she may be giving answers to the questions about farming, and there'll be 4 questions. And I will ask the question, and then Julia will respond to each question. Now, if you're not one of the volunteers, what you can do at home by yourself is while I'm asking the questions, you can answer the questions yourself at home. And if you do that, I encourage you to record yourself while you are answering the questions. Record yourself while you're answering the questions. And like I said, if you're using a great application like Otter AI will transcribe what you're saying while you speak. That way you can see what you said. It's a great, great tool. Also, if you're not going to be, self-speaking or self-answering the questions, when somebody is speaking, when a volunteer is speaking, I need some people to act as peer checkers, meaning I want you to give feedback to these speakers, give feedback to these volunteers, and comment on any grammar mistakes that you heard, any lexical mistakes that you heard, any issues you heard in fluency or pronunciation, right? So if you're a volunteer, people are going to comment on your speech, right? And remember, they're trying to give you helpful criticism to help make you better or to help you improve. And by your volunteering, you're allowing for them to be able to really see how they should or should not give certain responses. So, what you're doing is going to be a really great help. I'm going to answer these questions that I have in the chat box, and then I'm going to go with the first person. The first person that I'm going to ask questions to is going to be Julia. And so, Julia, you're going to be number 1, and I'm going to go with you first, Julia, and then I'll decide who's next. Yeah, Basak gave it to you correctly. The app is Otter AI. And Otter AI is a great application because Otter AI will transcribe. It will transcribe what you're going to say. So I'm going to give everybody. I'm going to pause for just 1 minute because there's some people that are trying to download the Otter AI app on their phone. I'm going to give them a minute to do that. Julia, Julia, can you turn on your mic? I'm not sure if I gave you the ability to turn on your mic, Julia, or not. I have to turn on Julia's microphone. Julia. Here's Julia. Okay. Julia, are you there?
Yes, thank you. I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah. I have everything on mute because that's the only way I can control the classroom. Sometimes I have 200, 300 students in a live class. And so I have to mute, but you're okay now. So Julia, in about 30 seconds, I'm going to ask you 4 questions. And these are questions that appeared recently on part 1 of the exam. And I want you to answer each question to the best of your ability, okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the first set of 4 questions. Julia is going to be responding to these questions. Like I said, if you're at home, you can also respond to the questions on your own and practice. Also, for some of you, please listen to her responses and please go over and make comments on her grammar, lexical fluency, and pronunciation. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is set number 1. And as I said, there are going to be 4 questions. All right, Julia, let's talk about farming, okay?
Of course.
Okay, Julia, what kind of farm do you like?
Okay, That's an interesting question. I guess I would choose a cattle station. Is it a kind of farm? Or from what I understand the question, I think cattle stations are, like, it's hard to think of an appropriate adjective, but they are necessary in terms of agriculture and very helpful in gastronomical matters for those who eat meat.
Okay. Next question. Do you think farming is important?
Of course, I think farming is very important. If we talk about, for example, growing vegetables, it's crucial because number of vegetarians is growing throughout the world. And I also like the trend of growing things on in houses, not like global farming, but some local farming. And I think it's also important to support such farmers.
Next question. Did you do farm work when you were young?
Yes, of course I did. Actually, I live in a very tiny town, and my grandmother had a garden, and we did a lot of farming. We had potatoes, cabbages, aubergines, and I enjoyed it a lot when I was a kid.
All right. And final question. Does your country still use many traditional farming methods?
I don't think I know what traditional farming methods are, but I suppose yes, because our country is very agricultural. It's a huge part of the economics of the country. And of course, a lot of things are modernized and they use all machines and things to make farming more up to date. But I'm pretty sure that traditional methods are also, they're perpetual in this field.
All right. Thank you very much, Yulia, for your volunteering. Please mute your microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And everybody that is, if you can, go ahead and take a minute and give Julia feedback on her responses. What you heard that was really good, any mistakes that you heard, any comments and feedback that we all can benefit from. Just in general, in terms of, it's difficult for me when I'm asking more advanced vocabulary. I'll chalk that up to her being a little bit nervous.
Yeah, hi, Camille.
Hey, are you there?
Yeah, it's Mayank, just to correct you.
Mayank, say it one more time.
Yeah, it's Mayank.
Mayank.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. All right, I'm trying. I'm trying. Forgive me for not saying it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get you and go through the second set of 4 questions with you, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, no, before we do that, I'm going to go over, just stay on the microphone. I'm going to show you some responses. I have some responses to the questions that I might give or that you could look at. So for example, if a person will ask, what kind of farm do you like? A good response might be, I believe there are 2 basic types of farms, vegetable and animal. Of those 2 options, I choose vegetable since it's more predictable than animal farms. With animals that vary in attitude, character, and illness. Do you think farming is important? Well, what are the basic tenets of life? Shelter, food, safety, and security. So yes, farming is globally significant. But these are different responses. And like I said, you could look at these later on because I am going to upload this into the course. But you could look at these later on and see the responses. Some of my responses I can't see at the bottom. I can't see my response at the bottom because the Zoom toolbar is blocking my response at the bottom. But these are some really good responses. And like I said, you can look at these later on and get an idea of what some kind of acceptable response is. One thing that I want you to notice about each one of my responses is I'm only really using 2 sentences. Now, the quality of my sentences that I'm using are at a really high quality, but you don't need to speak for 4, 5, 6 sentences. 2 or 3 high quality sentences and you're done. Move on to the next question. Okay. Now we're going to go through the second question set and I have my volunteer on the line. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about primary school. Did you like primary school?
Yes, I do like primary school, and I'm a bit educated, so always whenever I listen primary school, I just remember my childhood. Okay, so I have a very great childhood related, and I really enjoy time at my primary school.
Okay. And what did you like to do most in primary school?
Especially the bond which we form at the time of learning at primary school. That was whenever I sit alone, I always remember those time which I have spent at primary school. So I got a lot of good friends which currently are stay in touch with, and that's the best thing which I get from the school apart from education and learning.
All right. Third question. How did you travel to primary school?
I basically used my bicycle. So that was, my father brought me a good bicycle. So I used to commute using that. And that's it.
All right. And final question. What did you do in your leisure time at primary school?
Most of the students usually do playing. So I also, do a lot of sports there. So that's why I get into fitness enthusiasm. So apart from sports, the more time I also teach my colleagues as well at the spare time.
All right. Thank you very much for your volunteering. If you have any specific thank you very much. If you have any specific comments on his responses, please put your specific comments in the box. In terms of some things that I heard that stood out to me, well, question number 2 was not answered. Question number 2, he more talked about his relationships and that there's still, he still has close relationships from primary school. But for question 2 is asking, what did you like to do most? Right? So they're talking about an activity. What did you like to do most in primary school? And so question 2 was not really, the response was not really coherent for question 2. The other thing, and this is why recording yourself is so important, there were a lot of fundamental grammar mistakes. Right? There are a lot of fundamental grammar mistakes and foundational grammar mistakes, and that really can affect the score. I think that, the questions that he answered the best were questions 3 and questions 4. Question 4, it would have been great to show off.
Hi there, and thanks so much for joining me in the speaking section of the course. What's going to happen in this lecture is I will give you an example of how to do the student practice for part number 1. So the way that this is designed is I'm trying to give you a simulation of what it's like to be asked questions by an examiner. So in this video, which will proceed forward, you'll have an example of what you're supposed to do when you're doing the student practice. Okay. Now, in this video, I'm only going to be answering the first part, which is about your housing. This is when you do it for yourself, it's a full test. So it's a complete 12 questions that you're going to be asked. Actually, it's a little bit more than 12 questions that you're going to be asked to do in the student practice. I'm only going to be answering the first set because I'm just trying to give you a simulation of what it's like or what you have to do. Okay? Now, the purpose of this, of course, is for you to be able to do a self-evaluation or to self-evaluate or to do an evaluation of your study partner, right? So make sure when you're doing this that you are recording yourself or using speech-to-text software to keep a record of what you said. All right, so after I finish my sample, then you can go ahead and do practice sets A to E. Good luck and have a great time doing it. We will begin now. Where do you live? At this very moment, I'm residing with a 4-person family that has a home located on the northwest side of Washington, D.C. when I got my scholarship to come and study in the United States, I elected to stay with a stay-at-home family, with a homestay family, because it would help me with my English a lot. It's a beautiful home that has 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a front and backyard that's available for relaxation.
Okay, stop. Next question. How long have you been living in this place?
Well, I got my scholarship to come study in the United States in 2017, and now it is December of 2019, so it's been a little bit over 2 years at this point. In the very beginning, I didn't think it would work out that well because the culture was so different from mine, but I would have to say it's been a very enjoyable 2 years so far.
Okay, stop. Next question. What don't you like about the place?
Overall, I'd say I'm pleased with 90% of my current living situation, but one thing that really bothers me is that they have pets. This family has 3 dogs, and the dogs have their scent and their toys all over the home. I'm not really a pets kind of person. We don't keep pets a lot in my country, so this part of the home really bothers me a lot.
Okay, stop. Next question. What room is your favorite?
That's an easy question because I'm in the basement probably 75% of the time. The reason why is because they have a large flat screen TV and they have all of the cable channels that you could desire. When I'm studying English, I normally like to read and have the television on in the background because I don't like absolute silence. So I would definitely say the basement is where I spend most of my time and I find the most enjoyment.
Okay, stop. Next question. Describe the place where you currently live.
Well, as I said earlier, it's a 5-bedroom home. And what really stands out is this green carpet that they have running throughout the whole house. In addition to that green carpet, they have these burgundy red colored walls. So when you're walking in this home, it's sort of like being in Christmas all year long. There's a large kitchen that has an island for people to be able to have their coffee and tea and a really long dinner table. It's a really great place.
Okay, stop. Next question. Can you see yourself living there in the long run?
Absolutely not. My current plans are to matriculate to Colorado to start on my master's program in engineering. So really, I only have about 4 to 5 months left with this family. I'm going to miss them a lot, but my reason for being there was just to attain my bachelor's degree. I'm almost done with that part of my journey, and so I'll be leaving really soon.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Let's talk about language. You're going to have 4 questions on the topic of language. Again, please don't look at the screen and listen carefully. Let's begin. How many languages can you speak?
Right now, I can hold a conversation in 3 languages confidently. Definitely, I can speak Twi because this is the local dialect in Ghana, and I grew up speaking this language. In addition to that, when we're in school, we learn English formally, and also English is spoken everywhere around the country because it's a former English colony. In addition to those 2 languages, I also picked up Spanish while I was in high school.
Next question. Do you want to learn another language?
No. Under no terms do I want to learn another language. I'm pretty burned out on languages at this point. It was really difficult for me to be able to master English. Even though I took it growing up and we speak it everywhere, we don't speak it in a formal sense. And so I had to learn English formally, and I'm pretty burned out from learning English. So no more languages for me.
Stop. Next question. When did you start learning English?
My English journey began when I was really around 5 or 6 years old. My parents mainly spoke Twi inside of the household, but inside of school, we had an English class that would help us reinforce some of the English that we spoke on the street. So from five until now, I've had English off and on throughout my life.
Okay, stop. Next question. When should children start learning languages?
As early as possible, in my opinion. It's never too early to begin to acquire a new language like English, French, Chinese, or even Arabic. I think that when children are young, their brains can absorb so much so easily. And if parents can get started really, really early on helping them, I think that's absolutely the best idea for a small child. So for me, start at 5.
Now let's go ahead and move on to the next set of questions. Let's talk about genes. I'm going to ask you 4 questions about genes. Please don't look at the screen, listen to the question, and then give your answer to the question. Let us begin. Do you like wearing jeans?
Blue jeans, black jeans, red jeans, green jeans, they're all my favorite. The reason why is because they're so comfortable to put on. When you have on a pair of blue jeans, you feel like you can just, for that day, you can go in any direction. You can relax, you can put on a suit jacket and make it a little bit more formal. I love the versatility that a pair of jeans gives you.
Okay, stop. Next question. How often do you wear jeans?
If I could, I would put on a pair of jeans every day of the week. That's right, 7 days a week, I would wear blue jeans. However, I'm a business professional, and there are certain times where I just have to wear a suit or wear a pair of slacks. But I really love wearing jeans. So as it is right now, I wear them maybe 2 or 3 days a week.
Okay, please stop. Next question. Do you spend a lot on jeans?
Are you kidding me? I don't spend I don't utilize my money on a pair of blue jeans. Yes, I love them, but I'm not going to use my hard-earned cash on a pair of blue jeans. I go down to the Goodwill and I buy secondhand jeans all the time for $5 or $3. I do not believe in spending a lot of money on clothes. Even if I love the set of clothes, like I really adore jeans.
Stop for the last question. On what occasions do you wear jeans?
Most of the time, I'll decide to wake up in the morning and grab a pair of jeans if it's a Saturday or Sunday. Normally on those days, I don't have any plans, and I love to work around my house. And so when I have on some blue jeans, they allow for me to be able to do yard work or do housework or do work inside the house. So it's primarily on the weekend.
All right, please stop. We're moving on to our last set of questions. Let's talk about being organized. You're going to hear 4 questions, and I want you to now look at the screen. Please answer the questions. You should be recording yourself or using a speech-to-text software so that you'll be able to look back on what you said. Let's start. Are you an organized person?
I would have to answer that in the affirmative. I really learned about my time management when I was in middle school. And my parents are really are, I guess you'd have to say they're anal about being clean and having things in a certain order. So I just had that aspect drilled in me at a very young age. I really keep things where they're supposed to be.
Is it difficult for you to plan for your day?
Sometimes I would have to say it's a challenge to be able to really think about everything that has to be done on a particular Monday or Tuesday. The reason why is I sort of reject having to be organized all the time. However, when it comes down to it, most of the time I'll put things in order because it helps me to get things done. But sometimes it is really a challenge.
Okay, please. Stop.
Okay, now here is a great opportunity for you to practice your speaking part 1. You've just watched the lectures and learned from the lectures with me giving examples of what to do in speaking part 1. Now is your opportunity to practice. This is practice set A. So Here are the instructions, so please listen carefully. Number one, do not look at the screen. On the real exam, you're not going to be able to see the questions. I'm going to be reading the questions to you, and then I'm going to give you time to answer the questions. I'm going to read the questions to you, and then I'm going to give you time to answer the questions. The questions are going to appear on the screen for a moment, but that's for me. That's for me to be able to read the question to you. What I want you to do is not look at the computer screen, because on the real exam, you cannot do that. All right? Now, next, number 2, simulate the real exam. Answer in 2 to 3 sentences and then stop. I'm only going to give you 25 to 30 seconds to answer a question. Right? I'm going to be using a timer. I will only give you 25 to 30 seconds for you to complete an answer before I move on to the next question. Now, what you want to do to help yourself improve is record yourself or use a speech-to-text software or speech-to-text application on your cell phone. Also, Google Docs has a great speech-to-text software that you can use as well. And finally, practice, right? So the way this is going to work, this is like a real kind of test simulation for you. All right, this is for you to evaluate yourself. You're not going to be emailing this anywhere or sending it anywhere. This is for you to be able to practice answering questions in a simulation of how you'll get questions on the exam. So the most important rule here is rule number 1. Don't look at the screen. If you're looking at the questions on the screen, you're not simulating the real exam. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's talk about your housing. All right, so again, once I get started, I'm going to read the question, and then I'm going to give you time to answer the question. Okay, let's talk about your housing. Now, the way this is going to work is, and then I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer the question. 30 seconds. Now, this question is going to flash on the screen. You should not be looking at the screen right now. Do not look at the screen. You're going to hear me read the question, and then I want you to answer. Stop. Get ready for the next question. We will begin now. Where do you live? Ready for the next question. Question 9, and then I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer the question. 30 seconds. Now, this question is going to flash on the screen. You should not be looking at the screen right now. Do not look at the screen. You're going to hear me read the question, and then I want you to answer. Stop. Get ready for the next question. We will begin now. Where do you live?
So currently I'm living in Mexico City. It is a metropolitan, like it's capital of Mexico, and it's really happening. I love it. It's not really long time I've been here, but whatever time I got here, it was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of my time here. So yeah, the beauty of the city is it is full of museums, parks, and the connectivity is awesome here. You have metro buses everywhere.
Okay, stop. Next question. How long has
Uh, I think I came last year around March. I don't remember the exact date, but it was around March. And it's almost 10, 11 months now. And till now, like, it didn't feel like it's almost an year now. It just feel like I just came last month or so. And it's a lot of places I'm still yet to visit and I have not planned yet. So in another 1 month or two, I will be going back
Okay,
to my country.
stop. Next question. What don't you like about the place?
I the actually I I don't have an answer for that. I love every moment of it. I come from Pune city, which is really crowded, so I can't complain about the crowd too, because it's compared to it's way less compared to what we have in India back there, right? So and roads are really clean, and it's accommodating, so there is not a that much of a problem. But just to give an answer, I would say traffic may be a problem,
Okay,
that
stop.
if I have a
Next
car,
question.
I would not buy it. So
What room is your favorite?
the room, actually, I just uh, have a studio apartment. It's room come living hall and kitchen and everything in one place. So it's all I have got, and that's my favorite room. I would say it's living room. It opens to a balcony. My balcony opens to a playground on the backside of a school, which is really mesmerizing in mornings when I wake up and go to the balcony and try to enjoy
Okay,
my
stop.
coffee there.
Next question. Describe the place where you currently live.
So the place, it's a duplex, and on the second floor they have built an spacious room which also accommodates a kitchen. It has an attached bathroom and living space with a 60-inch TV, and every all the amenities are nearby. So and the area is really posh, where a lot of politicians stay nearby. And when I have my morning routine
Okay,
walk.
stop. Next question. Can you see yourself living there in the long run?
Of course, I would be really uh, I would be pleased, and I would be blessed to stay here. If I get a chance, if I own a property in the same place, I would be the richest man in the city. Like, although I'm just an rental visitor here, I don't own any properties, but in case if I own it, I would be top of the world. So the place where I stay, it's near to bar and museum, and
Okay, let's
all the shows
move
are
on to the
nearby.
next question. Let's talk about language.
Sure.
You're going to have 4 questions on the topic of language. Again, please don't look at the screen and listen carefully. Let's begin. How many languages can you speak?
I can speak 4 languages and learning the fifth one. So the reason behind that is I come from India, and we have it's a multi lingual country. Every state has their own language. So I was born in one state, I was raised in another, and there is a national language we spoke. So that's the third one. And English is the global language everyone knows. So I speak in 4 languages, plus the one
Next
Spanish I'm
question.
still trying to learn.
Do you want to learn another language?
Oh, that's my goal actually. It's for next year. I am trying to get my hands on Arabic. I can read the scriptures written in Arabic, but I don't understand them. And my goal is to practice it and understand what is written in Arabic, and that would be an add-on to my already 5 languages that I'm trying to speak, and it would be additional to that. And it's really beneficial if I am traveling to the
Okay,
Middle
stop.
East kind of
Next
countries.
question. When did you start learning English?
I start learn like too early, I would say. I belong to a school that was owned by Christians majority in my area in India. It is not that popular, although I was in convent. It was not fluent, but when I went to degree and did my higher education, I picked up on it. So I started English too early, But as you know about English, it's easy to learn, but it gets difficult and difficult
Okay,
day by day.
stop. Next question. When should children start learning languages?
I would say as soon as they start speaking, I think that would be what age they should be getting new languages to learn. Like the place where I come from, my kids, like they know a language which is spoken at home, that is our mother tongue. Along with that, they are also going out and meeting new people, and they are picking up on it. Like my friend, my kid
Okay,
has a lot of
now let's
friends.
go ahead and move on to the next set of questions. Let's talk about genes. I'm going to ask you 4 questions about genes. Please don't look at the screen, listen to the question, and then give your answer to the question. Let us begin. Do you like wearing jeans?
I love them. I wear them everywhere. Jeans are something that goes on each and every attire. It may be formal, informal. I like to hold on to jeans if I am also going to any office parties or anything like that, or in any conference or meetings too. So wear a formal shirt on my regular jeans. It would look good. If I want to go out and party, I would just have a casual T-shirt on the same jeans and a jacket.
Okay,
That
stop.
would be
Next
enough.
question. How often do you wear jeans?
Almost, I would say 5 to 6 days in a week. If I'm at home, I'm not wearing a jeans, but if I'm going out, it's almost a jeans. I don't wear any other trousers as per se, but jeans are make me comfortable. I have certain connection with them, just so that I my jeans are usually made out of heavy cotton, so it
Okay,
doesn't
please
feel
stop.
like
Next
a,
question.
yeah.
Do you spend a lot on jeans?
uh, I would say it's reasonable. I never go beyond a limit. I have a set limit on how much I have to spend on everything I buy, usually with my clothes and everything. So I make a budget on how much I need to spend every month as such, so I can discard my own old clothes. I don't wear old clothes until unless it is it tore apart. Like I don't want a tattered jeans, so I make sure
Okay,
I replace
let's
them with
stop
new
for
one.
the last question. On what occasions do you wear jeans?
As I already said, I wear it almost on all the occasions, until unless it demands to not wear a jeans, I would be in a jeans. So, say if I'm traveling, I would not wear a jeans just because it is not very much comfortable to sit in a jeans for longer durations. Like, say, if it is I'm taking a flight from here to India back, I would not prefer a jeans because I may have to sit in the same pairs maybe for
All right, please
uh,
stop. We're moving on to our
10
last
hours.
set of questions. Let's talk about being organized. You're going to hear 4 questions, and I want you to now look at the screen. Please answer the questions. You should be recording yourself or using a speech to text software so that you'll be able to look back on what you said. Let's start. Are you an organized person?
I am well organized person. It's a quality I have developed when I was really young. In my household, it was very strict environment around me. My mother was very punctual on all the things, as well as she was sorted on each and every chores she chooses. So I picked that quality from her, and I started organizing my school bag and then my
Please
clothes,
stop. Next
everything.
question. Is it difficult for you to plan for your day?
It usually doesn't if I have a schedule, if it's a work day. On weekends, I would say it's bit difficult, not that much. I try to plan my work accordingly, because in work days, what happens is usually I have a strict schedule to follow, because I have calls for office, and then I have to leave, like I have to work in morning and evening, and that schedule is perfect. But on weekends it's laid back, and I have to make sure
Okay,
that
please
whatever
stop.
work I
Final
have to do.
question. I'm sorry, third question. What is the advantage of being organized?
I would say that that shows your character actually. When you are self-organized and strict to a schedule, when no one is watching you. Currently, I am in a situation no one will be counter questioning me if I don't make a schedule on anything. Still, if I do it, I practice it, it shows a strong person who can stick to a curriculum, or you can achieve any goals you want if you are stick to a set
All
rules
right,
that
please
are
stop.
needed.
Next question. Do you prefer to be busy during the day or not?
I would prefer to be busy in productive work, and not be being sucked up in work which like I dread, and I really don't like that kind of work. If I'm busy in useless activities, that's a wasteful day, like something that I can outsource or something. And if I'm spending my time whole day in that, I would say it is not good for being productive or going ahead.
Okay, please stop. Thank you very much for participating in this speaking practice test. The purpose of this is so you can do a self evaluation of what you're doing. That's why I said you really should be recording yourself, or you should be. All right, now we're going to move into another practice speaking for part number 1 or task 1. This is practice set B. You've just completed practice set A, so you should be familiar with the instructions. However, I'm going to go over the instructions again very briefly in case anybody did not do set A and they went directly to set B. So, first thing, don't look at the screen. On the real exam, you will not be able to see the questions. The questions will appear momentarily on the screen for me to read the question. You should not be looking at the screen. Turn the computer away from you. Listen to my voice. I'm going to say the question, and then you immediately go ahead and give your answer. Now, we're simulating the real exam. This means that you only are going to be able to answer in 2 to 3 sentences and then stop. I will only give you about 25 to 30 seconds to give your answer. Then I'll say stop, move on to the next question. And you'll hear me say the next question. Give your answer, okay? Now, what I think is a great idea for you, because this is really about your self-evaluation, right? I'm giving you the ability and look at what you're doing. So record what you're doing. Record yourself, or use a speech-to-text software. They're great, both options. Speech-to-text software will write down what you're saying. That way you can look back at it and say, you know what? I didn't use right grammar. I didn't use correct grammar there. I should have done this better for my fluency. You can really look back at yourself and improve, especially if you have a study partner. You and your study partner can do that together. And finally, practice, 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 practice. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, here I'm going to ask you more than normally if they ask you about jobs. You know, it might be 1 or 2 questions. I'm going to ask you just 5 or 6 questions just to give you a lot of practice with just answering questions, okay? So the way it's going to work, you should have your speech-to-text software set up and running. Will appear on the screen. Answer, okay? All right. What kind of job do you do? Stop. Next question. Can you describe your job? Stop. Next question. What do you like most about it? Stop. Next question. What is the interesting part of your job? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Do you prefer to work in a team or alone? Okay, let's move on to the next set of questions. Let's talk about music. So, in this set of questions, we're going to talk about music. I'm going to ask you 4 questions about music. Make sure that you're not looking at the screen. I'll say the question and give you 30 seconds to give your answer. Let's get started.
Okay.
Do you
How
like
did I
music?
listen? I like music. I love music. It's not heavy music I usually listen to. I like symphonies that is played in background so that I can focus more on my work. And maybe it's not uh, hip hop or something like that. A low tone, flat background music is what I love. Something like you see playing in restaurants and like quiet bars, right? So that's what
Next question.
most attracts me.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I like classical music is one of my favorites. I listen to Arabic music, some kind of uh, Hindi symphonies. Really, like 90s songs are what I prefer to prefer to listen, and nothing today's genre. It's really doesn't make any sense while listening. So I don't like those songs which doesn't convey emotion or doesn't
Okay,
have a
next
meaning
question.
behind them.
Stop. When do you listen to music?
Most of the time I listen music on my headphone while I'm working. So my agenda is to have more focus on whatever I do. So music helps me concentrate more. It doesn't interfere with, like, when it is not interfering with my work. So if I'm really coding something or I need to focus 100%, then I don't listen. But usually it's 99% of the time I'm listening to music while working on my assignments or whatever I'm doing on my
Did you
laptop.
like the same kind of music as in childhood?
I have
I'll repeat
this.
that one. I didn't say please stop. Did you like the same kind of music as in childhood?
I would say that's not true because I have evolved a lot since my childhood. In my childhood, when I was small, my favorite music was more of rap and hip hop and all that funky music. And recently, I don't like it. So I would say it was. Um a complete shift from what I was listening in my past, and now it's way different. It's like apples and
Okay,
oranges
please
now.
stop. Let's move on to the next questions. Let's talk about perfume. So, for this topic, we're going to talk about perfume. I'm going to ask you the question, give you 30 seconds to respond, then move on to the next question. You should be using a speech to text software. Question one. Do you like perfume?
I love them. The reason is perfumes make your presence felt, and my I have a specific choice. It's already I think I would like to own a shop full of perfumes. That's how crazy I am regarding using them. So perfumes, I love them, and I wear them daily almost whenever I'm going out. Although if I'm not going out, I like to have a little bit, not
Please
too
stop. Next
hard.
question. Do you use perfume often?
Yeah, most probably when I'm going out is where I need perfume, because the place I am currently in, it has a temperature where uh, it's quickly you become sweaty when you are out on a walk, or whenever I am going for a quick jog or going to gym. I make sure I use a heavy perfume that compensate for the smelly odor. I am a smelly guy usually, because the need is I sweat a lot, and that's the reason
Next question.
I love
Please stop.
perfumes.
Have you ever given someone perfume as a gift?
I would say sparingly. I don't give perfumes, but I receive a lot. My father-in-law owns a company that produces perfume, and he used to give me a lot of perfumes in the past, and that's why I have a huge collection at my home, and I really don't like to give them away. And if I need to present someone, I will buy something else and give them. But perfume is my thing, and I don't give them often.
Please stop. Next question. Would you like to spend more on perfume?
Till now, I have not spent really huge sum on it. The reason being, as I told earlier, I used to get it like I have got my own collection just out of the gifts that I have received. So I didn't go out and okay, I need to buy a perfume, because I have already a lot of, and my wife really is strict about spending something on perfumes because we already have it, so it doesn't make any sense, right? So that's the
Please
reason I
stop. We're
don't
going to
went
move
out
on to
and
the
look
next
for
set
one.
of questions. In this next set of questions, we're going to talk about wild animals. Wild animals. Question one. Have you ever seen any wild animals?
I would like to say yes. Actually, I have seen lot and lot of animals, just because I'm an outdoor guy. We have been to places in multiple countries since quite few years now, and wherever I go, like I went to places like in Africa or South America. In those countries, I went to different national parks. I don't remember the exact names, but I've seen a lot of wild animals. I have been to safari. I
Stop.
have been to
Next
hunting.
question. What is your favorite wild animal?
Hands down, it's lion. I love lions. I have pictures of lions on my phone in my gallery to put it on, different status backgrounds. You have recent trend of people putting quotes of famous personalities. So that's what sometimes I like to do with the background of lion. And I think also because it's a religious symbol for what I believe in, and one of our main religious leader was called a lion, and I really reflect that animal uh, to be empowering, and I really love lions. So yeah.
Okay. Next question, please stop. Where do you usually see them?
I have seen like in my most of my adventures that I did outdoors. I saw wild animals in safaris and in zoo. Although I don't like zoos that much because zoos are confined for them and it's not really habitable for animals like lion, tiger, and the animals that need to roam the earth and really go out and hunt. So that's not really good for them. So I would prefer going to a safari instead of a zoo.
Okay, please
But I've
stop.
seen
Next
them.
question.
Yeah.
Do you like seeing them in a zoo?
No, not. I'm not really fond of seeing animals in zoo. Sometimes the really confined place, as I told, uh, makes me sad when I see them in really small place and they are just given the food. They forget their natural habitat there. They don't know how to kill or make or to survive in the wild. Like those animals are really in poor condition as far as I know, although they claim to have been taken care really good, but I don't think that's the reality that matches with what they say. When we see the animals, it's really not spacious. It's just for entertainment purpose and are kept for. Uh,
Okay, let's move on. Thank you very much for participating. I hope this was helpful for. Okay, hello again. Okay, hello again. For you to see them. Exam, I want you to prove that's what you have. Just think that using speech to text will write this. Ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions in this area. I'm going to ask you maybe 6 questions because speech to text look back, you'll have to study. Subject popular in your country? Okay, please stop. Next question. Is your study subject popular in your As I want to just give you an opportunity to practice. So you should have your speech to text software activated or your recorder activated so that you'll be able to look back and self evaluate. So I'm going to ask the question. You'll have 30 seconds to answer. I'll say stop and move on to the next question, okay? What do you study?
I I am not a student anymore, but I have studied uh, telecommunication engineering. So I was in a 4 year degree course. After my basic science 10 plus 2 education, I enrolled myself in telecommunication engineering. I spent 4 years there studying about everything about telecommunication and how systems work, how BSNL and other
Please
systems
stop.
connect.
Next question. What is the most interesting thing about what you study?
The most interesting thing is to learn new things that I never knew earlier. That's what motivates me to study actually, and I do research on a lot of topics when I am uh, working, right. So I make sure I spend some time, at least an hour or so daily to my regular study, like a topic that I don't know about. That's what make me really keen
Okay,
about to
please
learn.
stop. Next question. Is your study subject popular in your country?
Yes, I would say information technology is way popular across as we are moving towards a technological age with AI being developed for a lot of stuff. It's good to learn technology, and my country is the heart and soul of it. We have a lot of institute, and they are like prominently Indians are head of most of the
Please stop.
technological
Next
giants
question.
around the world.
Why did you choose to study this subject?
I choose uh, uh, I choose computer science. Actually, I talked about telecommunication because I was nervous and was not ready to speak. So that's why I'm switching now to computer science. And it motivated because I was a computer buff from really small age, and I wanted to do something on computers. They were part of my life daily when I was studying in school, and that's where I decided like I will be
Please
into
stop. Next
technology.
question. In the future, would you like to study a new subject?
For the matter of fact, I really do now because apart from technology and whatever I'm doing currently, I try to learn different subjects like cooking and other stuff that I really am getting interested recently. I also practice boxing that makes you fit. I try to get hands on different subjects that I can study and grow myself. So, yeah.
Okay. Please stop. Next question. Is it a difficult subject to study?
If you are interested in it, I would not say it is really difficult because then you are really keen and look forward to learn code and spend your time and hour on in front of a screen and type, right? So when when you are not interested, I would say it would be most difficult and you should avoid it completely because it's a mental harassment for you if you are really not into that subject. So that's how my perspective about it is. If you're interested, it was easy. If you're not,
Okay,
it is
now we're
something.
going to move on to the next topic. Let's talk about teamwork. All right, you're going to hear 3 questions here. Please get ready. Do not look at the screen. Let's get started. Question number 1. Do you think teamwork is important?
Teamwork is the core of any development project. If you know how to deliver something and you have a team to run, you should have some knowledge on teamwork, how to keep motivating your team, because without your team it's no way ahead. If you are just doing some small work here and there on your own in silos, that's fine, completely fine, but mostly larger projects like the one we deliver in my company,
Stop.
that
Next
needs a lot of
question.
teamwork.
What is more important to you, the job or your colleagues?
I would say both. Job is important to feed my family and keep where I am currently positioned. But colleagues are also, sometimes you can't choose both at a time. Sometimes your colleagues are really not good to work with. They are really difficult, and you may have to find your own way along with them. But job is something that is more prominent, and you have to
Please stop.
make
Next
sure.
question. Does teamwork benefit all people?
For sure it is. It helps each and every person who is part of that team, and the results speak themselves. Like when there is a team working and putting their heads together on one subject and are focused in that direction, everyone learns some lesson out of it, and ultimately when they deliver and get rewarded for it, it's distributed among them. So it's monetary benefit, it's a learning
Okay,
curve you
please
have to
stop. We're
manage.
moving on to the next question set. Let's talk about work-life balance. Question number 1. How can women achieve a better work life balance?
For women, I would say it's really difficult for them if they are like if they have a family with kids and everyone. So it's really important for them to make sure they are giving enough time to their children, their spouses, and making sure the work is also delivered at same time. So they have to run through household errands and make sure everything is at place, because motherhood is more important for the kids than fatherhood. That is my belief
Okay,
actually.
please stop. Let's move on to the next question. How important is a career for a woman?
I think there should not be any difference between like career wise for women and men. They should get equal opportunities for work. They should also be part of the ecosystem that delivers, and women current participation, you will see it is less, but as in how humanity is progressing toward the next generation, we see a lot of women working and
Okay, next
putting effort.
question. What is more important, a career or managing a household?
If that's a tricky one, I think, in my own perspective, managing an household is more important. That's where some may differ with me. Working women would, obviously, but yeah, if you are at home, you spend most of the time there. Work will give you a satisfaction of achieving something, but when you see your kids and when you see your house is organized, that would considered a
Okay,
peaceful
please
life.
stop. We're moving on to the last set. Let's talk about smiling. Let's talk about smiling. Question number 1. Do you smile a lot?
Uh, I really don't know about it. I don't observe if I'm smiling or I'm frowning. When I'm talking to someone or doing some work on my laptop. I never was conscious about it until now. So probably I would say it's 50-50. It depends on the situation and the work. If I'm enjoying the work, I may be smiling, but something that I don't like, if I'm doing that or having an interaction with someone I don't really appreciate, it will not
Okay,
be really.
please stop. Next question. What impact does a smile have on people?
I would say whatever I have read till now, related to make better, like to be better at communicating and uh, getting what you need. Smile is, I would say, a cornerstone for it. Reason being, firstly, if you are smiling, it automatically changes your tone of speaking, and it always make a positive. Secondly, it makes a positive impact on someone who is listening to you and
Okay,
seeing
please
you
stop.
smiling.
Next question. When do you usually smile?
I I think when I'm really talking to my friends, I'm smiling, because the aura of that place, when we gather around with my family and my friends, that's that makes me happy. And when you are happy, obviously you are smiling. So that are the instances whenever I am in my club, in my closed you know group. I'm really I think I would say I'm laughing, but it's the purpose where we
Okay,
usually smile.
thank you very much for participating. I hope that this has really helped you in getting. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us in our speaking section of the course. I know you're working really hard, and I hope these previous practice opportunities, sets A, B, and C, have really been helpful for you. We're now going to move in town on the real exam, they're probably going to ask you only 2 or 3 questions, maybe even just one question about this. I'm going to ask you about 6 questions on this. Just ask the question. Great. Hometown. Question number 1. Where is your hometown?
My hometown is in India. It's a small place in the state of Maharashtra. It's nearby two metropolitan cities. It is connecting to two main cities, but it's a small village in between, and it's really prosperous, and everyone knows everyone. Kind of culture is there. So it's a small place, and I've been born and brought up there. I did my schools, and almost primary education was done there, and then I moved out for
All right,
high
please
studies.
stop. Next question. Is there much to do there?
I would say much if you seek a nightlife, or if you want really fun time in bars or something like that, that's not the place for you. There are a lot of other activities, although you can that you can perform, like there is gym and other well equipped restaurants, and you have parks, and everything is there. You have nearby mountain peaks to climb and do
Please stop.
trekking.
Next question. What are people like in your hometown?
uh, the the mountains, the place is surrounded by mountains, so my town is actually at footstep of Sahyadri uh, range. It's really one of the highest peak in the state, and it's surrounded by them. You have a lot of tourism coming in. We see a lot of new people around. There is also a dam for the main river that is going
Okay,
from
please stop.
our
Next
city.
question. Has it changed much since you were a child?
uh, Tremendously. I would say it has completely transformed since my childhood. When I was young, we never saw any house more than the ground level, and now there are almost like lot of tons of buildings came up recently, which are more than 4 stories. There was no concept of building, and initially there was no supermarkets, no healthcare system, and it was really a small town
Okay,
initially. It was
please
small
stop. Next
houses built
question.
around.
Can you tell me something exciting about the place?
Exciting, I would say the river. We have three rivers merging in center of the city. It is also famous as boating, and for many activities that people usually like to go by the bed of the river for fishing, and some are taking a dip, and a lot of fun around that place is taken. Recently we see because of global
Okay,
warming it
please
is
stop.
impacted, but
Next
other than that
question.
it is beautiful.
What changes would you like to make in your hometown?
If I was a mayor, if you say, I would recommend building a multiplex. I really see a need there. Usually what happens is, although there are a lot of cinema theaters, but there is no one place which has a multiplex kind of structure in city center. So what happens is people usually have to travel an hour or two for, if they are really keen for watching 3D IMAX kind of settings. If they want to watch theater, they have
Okay,
to go
please
to
stop. We're moving on
different
to the
places.
next set of questions. Now we're going to talk about patience. Let's talk about patience. I'm going to ask the question, give you 30 seconds to answer, then move on to the next question. Let's start. How would you describe patience?
Patience is a boon, I would say. Not everyone has that blessing from Almighty to be patient. Certainly, I am not one of them. I am really an impatient person. I need to get things done quickly and as soon as possible is my motto, to get everything my work and in any part of things. If I'm not getting it within an hour or in a
Please
day,
stop. Next
I really become
question.
impatient.
Do you think patience is important?
For sure, it is the most crucial part uh, that everyone should have and should practice on patience. I myself is trying to get hold of it and make myself calm using meditation and lot of things that I try to do. I try to lift weights and make sure I have practiced my patience on working out, because those are the parts where you may
Please
not
stop.
see result
Next
immediately.
question. Have you ever lost patience?
Sometimes I lose my patience in multiple occasions in a single day. That's how impatient I am. To frankly speaking, I lose my patience if I am stuck in traffic, or if the work is not delivered. If it was bound to get done today, or any kind of work if I'm not getting ahead. So all these things make me really impatient in most of
Please
the
stop.
occasions in my
Next
day-to-day life.
question. Is being patient more important than being polite?
I would say these are two different faces of same coin. Patience and politeness comes, like if you have patience you will get more polite, right? You will not be raising your tone, you will not be using harsh word on someone to get work done. That will make you polite. Like it will change your character completely inside out. If you are really patient guy, you will not be scolding to others, and that's how it's
All
like
right, please
the
stop. We're
quality
moving
of a
on to
polite
the
man.
next set of questions. Now let's talk about books. Question number one. Do you like reading?
That's a really good question. And reading is something I do daily. Like it's my rule to at least read a page every day, so that because books make you think about like more than pictures, right? So recently people are caught up with more on consuming media and social media and TV and news and everything. But reading makes you think, you can visualize. It's a mental it creates a
Please
mental
stop.
picture.
Next question. What was your favorite book or story as a child?
Uh, I would say Arabian Nights is my favorite childhood book. When my teacher got me introduced with that, that was my first book also, and I really liked it. The stories presented and how, and in the end, there was good over evil and all that kind of uh, motivation I used to get from reading. That make me really humble now, and I when I reflect back, uh,
Please
that's where
stop.
I got
Next
developed my
question.
interest.
Are you reading a book presently?
Recently, I have not picked any new book because of my recent studies, but I was reading Atomic Habits. It's a really good book which talks about how you have to organize your work and how to create a habit of achieving something. Like there are step by step procedure given in that book to make sure you make good things as your habit and not something that you need mental effort to do. So,
Please stop.
yeah,
Next question. Do you think it's important that children read regularly?
I would say that's really a core of the education system. There should be a really uh, more focus on student to read and uh, practice more. The reason being, current situation, we see people are stuck with the screen time more, and for kids it's becoming really difficult, like harder and harder to sit them and read through, because you need patience for reading. So that patience is lost, what I see
Okay, let's move
in
on
this
to the
TikTok
next
era.
set, the last set. Let's talk about friends. Let's talk about friends. Question number one. Do you have friends?
I have a lot. The reason being, I've been traveling since quite some time now, and every place I visit, every new location I go for my work, I make a lot of friends. The reason being, I'm not a person who can survive alone. I need friends to be outdoors, to communicate and talk to them for on multiple topics, to gain knowledge from them. And friends are the one, I would say, is your
Please
true
stop.
treasure.
Next question. Are they living close to you?
That's something I'm really missing in my life. My friends are really scattered around the world. The thing is, as I progressed in my career, I went places, I made a lot of friends, but they are still in that place, right? So I usually try to communicate via WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram. Like that, we try to communicate uh, to each other, and once in a while, if I get a chance, I get we do a get together, get a chance to meet and
Please stop.
share our
Get
thoughts.
ready for the next question. Do you consider yourself to be a good friend?
I would say a good friend is someone who comes, like, who helps you in your times in need. And I would consider myself as a good friend whenever there is such a requirement from my friends to be present, if physically or morally or financially. I make sure I try to do whatever at my best capacity, although I'm lacking at few here and there qualities, but I would still consider myself as a good friend.
Finally, why do you think friendship is important?
Friendship is, I think
Why do
it's
you think friendship is important?
friendship, making friends and being, close to one another is a cornerstone of humanity, I would say, because human is a social animal. He can't survive on his own. Maybe if I, and that's the case from Stone Age, right? So we found communities to be, and friends are your community now, although it's virtual or it's really distant now. But those are the one who picks you up in whenever you are down, and
All right,
make sure
please
you are
stop.
doing well in your
Thank you
life.
very much. You've just completed practice set D. I hope it was very.
I think, guys, we'll conclude
Hello
here
again, and
and
thank you.
continue tomorrow on section 2. Rest, I will do the practice on my own. So thank you very much for staying this late today, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.